I brought my husband's broken phone in for repair. But 10 minutes later, the technician examining it grabbed my arm and whispered in panic, "Change your house locks, block all your cards, now." I was in shock when I saw what was inside my husband's phone. It turned out he. Before we get into the story, don't forget to say hi in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. And make sure to hit the subscribe button on Stories with Meaning so you won't miss our next powerful story. That morning felt ordinary, just like hundreds of mornings I had already lived through with Alex. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee drifted from the kitchen, mixing with the scent of soap after Alex finished showering. He was my husband, the man I believed to be the pillar of my life. We built everything from scratch: a small house, stable careers, and a love I thought was unshakable. Alex kissed my forehead before sitting at the dining table. His smile was still as warm as the day we first met. We talked about weekend plans, about a movie we wanted to watch, light conversations that filled the quiet morning. Everything seemed perfect, too perfect, so perfect it felt fragile. That fragility had been creeping in for weeks. It started with small things. Alex, who used to leave his phone face up on the table, now always placed it screen down. Whenever a call came in while we were talking, he'd quickly silence it or walk away to answer. "Work," he said, "just quick stuff." I tried to believe him. Alex was a hard worker. But then it escalated. He began locking himself in his home office late into the night. We used to go to bed together. Now I often slept alone. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and found him whispering tensely on the balcony. When he noticed me watching, he ended the call immediately. "Just a difficult client in another time zone," he said. I pushed the doubt aside. I didn't want to be the jealous, paranoid wife. I loved him. I trusted him. But this morning, something broke. And it wasn't just the phone. We were standing on the second floor balcony. I was watering my hanging plants while Alex leaned against the railing, completely absorbed in his phone. I asked him something about dinner plans, but he didn't answer. I stepped closer, teasingly trying to peek. "Wow, who are you texting that's so serious?" His reaction shocked me. He jumped, almost yelled. His hand jerked away as if I touched fire. The sudden movement sent the phone flying. It hit the balcony railing once, then fell. We both froze. The sickening crack echoed as it slammed onto the patio below. Silence. I held my breath, waiting for his anger. It was an expensive phone. His entire work life was on it. I expected shouting, blame, anything. But Alex just stood there. "Alex," I whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean." Slowly, he turned toward me. There wasn't anger in his eyes. What I saw was far more terrifying. Relief. He exhaled deeply, like he'd been holding his breath for weeks. "It's fine," he said quietly. His voice sounded strange. It was already broken. We went downstairs. The phone was shattered, screen cracked like a spider web, frame bent, beyond repair. I crouched to pick it up, but Alex stopped me. "Don't bother, Diana. I'll just buy a new one." "But your data, your work. We can take it to a repair shop, at least try to recover it." "No," he cut in quickly. Too quickly. "I've backed everything up to the cloud. Forget it. It's time for a new phone anyway." He picked up the broken phone, walked into the kitchen, and tossed it into the trash can under the sink, without hesitation, like he was throwing away leftovers, not the most important device in his life. He looked relieved. Too relieved. The rest of the morning, Alex was unusually lighthearted. He hummed in the shower. He even invited me out for breakfast. But I couldn't relax. Why was he so relieved that the phone was destroyed? What was on the phone that made him happy it was gone? The doubts I had buried rushed back. After Alex left for work, I stood frozen in the kitchen, staring at the cabinet beneath the sink. I felt like a traitor. I felt guilty. But I needed to know. With trembling hands, I opened the cabinet and reached into the trash. I pulled out the shattered phone. It felt cold and sharp in my hands. I wiped it with tissues, wrapped it in a cleaning cloth, and slipped it into my bag. I knew exactly where to go. My cousin Ryan owned a small phone repair shop in downtown Chicago. He specialized in the impossible. The drive felt endless. My mind raced. I was betraying Alex's trust. If there was nothing on the phone, I'd be the worst wife imaginable. But if there was something, that relief on Alex's face this morning told me it wasn't trivial. I arrived at Ryan's shop. The neon lights inside felt harsh against my eyes. He was dismantling a laptop, but smiled when he saw me. "Hey Dee, what brings you here?" I didn't waste time. I pulled the wrapped bundle from my bag and placed it on the glass counter. When I unfolded it, Ryan's eyes widened. Whoa, what happened to this? I fell. I swallowed. "Ryan, please, I have a bad feeling. It's Alex's phone. Can you recover anything from it?" Ryan looked at me, then at the phone. His smile faded, replaced with a serious expression. "This is bad," he said honestly, "but I'll try." He took the phone into the back room. The door closed, leaving me alone in the cold waiting area. 10 minutes. That's all it took. Those 10 minutes felt like 10 hours. I paced the shop, pretending to look at colorful phone cases, while my heart pounded so loudly I was sure others could hear it. I imagined the worst: an affair, messages from another woman, photos that shouldn't exist. It would hurt, yes, but it was a pain I could understand, a common betrayal. I told myself I could survive that. But the relief on Alex's face this morning, that wasn't the face of a man caught cheating. That was the face of a man who had narrowly escaped a disaster. What could be worse than infidelity? Debt? Crime? Legal trouble? I didn't know. I was staring blankly at the escalator across the hall when the back door opened. I didn't hear Ryan approach, but suddenly he was beside me. I turned, ready for bad news, but his expression stopped every thought in my head. He wasn't angry. He wasn't sad. He was pale, completely pale. His eyes were wide, filled with raw fear. He said nothing. He grabbed my arm, hard. "Come with me," he whispered. He didn't lead me back to the counter. He dragged me out of the shop, down the crowded mall corridor, and that's when I knew whatever was on that phone was far worse than I had imagined. People stared at us, but Ryan didn't care. He dragged me into a quiet corner near the emergency stairwell, an area beyond the reach of the mall's CCTV cameras. He pushed me gently but firmly against the wall, both hands gripping my shoulders. His eyes locked onto mine. "Ryan, what's going on?" I asked. My voice trembled. "You're scaring me." "Listen to me, Diana," he whispered urgently, panic seeping into every word. He glanced left and right, making sure no one was listening. "Don't ask questions. Just do exactly what I tell you." I could only nod. His fear was contagious. "Secure all your ATM and debit cards. Change your house locks immediately, right now." The words made no sense. Cards? Locks? I shook my head in confusion. "What do you mean? Why the locks? Is this about money? Does Alex have gambling debts?" I was still trying to find a logical explanation. "This isn't about debt," Ryan said, his voice cracking. "Diana, this is far worse. Worse than anything you can imagine." "Why?" I pleaded. Tears welled in my eyes. "What did you see? Tell me." Instead of answering, Ryan reached into his pocket and pulled out Alex's phone. Miraculously, the screen lit up, despite the cracked spiderwebbing across it. His hand shook, worse than mine. He opened something on the phone without saying a word, then turned the screen toward me. I leaned in, trying to focus on the shattered display. At first, I didn't understand. It wasn't a chat app. It wasn't intimate photos. It was a folder, and inside it were pictures of me. Not vacation photos, not wedding pictures. I saw photos of my driver's license, my social security card, the front page of my bank passbook, my passport. Below it was a document file I hadn't fully read yet. "Diana, this is me," I whispered, still not understanding why he had saved all this. "Keep looking," Ryan murmured. He swiped the screen. And that's when I saw it. My blood turned to ice. My breath caught in my throat. The noise of the mall vanished completely. It was a draft document, a power of attorney with my name printed neatly at the top, granting Alex full authority to sell our house. Below it was an image file, a perfect specimen of my signature. Identical, flawless. "Oh my God," I whispered. I couldn't feel my legs anymore. "There's more," Ryan said grimly. He opened another app, a secure messaging platform I didn't even know Alex had installed. There was only one conversation. The contact name was a single letter, J. The last message had come in just minutes ago when the phone briefly connected to the mall's Wi-Fi. I read it, and my world collapsed. J. Good. The phone is destroyed. According to plan, execute the final stage tonight. Make sure she's asleep, deeply, while we clear everything out. I stared at the cracked screen, but the words blurred. My ears rang. Asleep deeply. The phrase echoed in my head, drowning out every other sound. My knees buckled. I would have fallen if Ryan hadn't caught me. I leaned against the cold metal wall of the emergency stairwell. The chill seeped into my bones. But it wasn't as cold as my blood. "No," I whispered. It was the only word I could form. "No, this can't be right. This has to be a mistake, a setup. Someone is framing Alex." I looked at Ryan, silently begging him to agree. "You know Alex," I said desperately. "Ryan, he's a good man. He wouldn't do this. He loves me." Ryan's pale face hardened. He didn't waver. "I wish you were right," he said quietly but firmly, "but I've seen enough." He shook my shoulders gently, trying to ground me. When I opened a phone to supply emergency power, I checked the hardware. There's a second SD card hidden behind the SIM slot, where it shouldn't be. He hid it on purpose. He continued, his voice steady but heavy. "The folder with your IDs and your signature, that's stored on the hidden SD card. This wasn't sent to him to frame him. He built it. He collected it." I shook my head as tears began to fall. "But why sell the house? Clear everything out. That's our money, our life." "I don't know," Ryan said, frustrated, "and we don't have time to figure out why." He met my eyes. "That message said tonight. You're in danger, real danger." Asleep, deeply. The words replayed in my head. Horrifying images flooded my thoughts. Alex smiling that morning. Alex offering me coffee. Alex saying he'd cook a special dinner tonight. Oh God, is he going to poison me? Nausea slammed into me. I covered my mouth and gagged. Ryan held my hair back, waiting until I could breathe again. The fear was overwhelming, so real it shattered everything. The love I had for Alex hours ago was gone, replaced by a sickening horror. The man who slept beside me every night, the man who held my hand when my mother died, that man was planning my death tonight. "What do I do?" My voice broke. Ryan took a deep breath and took control. "First, evidence. I'm cloning the entire phone, including the hidden SD card, onto an external hard drive. A few more minutes. This will be your primary evidence." He looked straight at me. "Second, your money. Take out your phone, call your banks, now. All of them. Say your wallet was stolen. Freeze every credit card, lock every personal account. Forget the joint accounts for now. Save what's in your name first." I nodded stiffly, my hand shaking as I reached into my bag. "Third," Ryan continued, "the house. You cannot go back while the locks are still the same. He can enter any time. Jay can enter any time." "Who is Jay?" I cried. "I don't know who Jay is." "I don't know either," Ryan snapped sharply. "James, Jason, Jeffrey, it doesn't matter right now. You need to change the locks. Call a 24-hour locksmith, have them meet you at the house immediately." "But Alex, he thinks the phone is destroyed." "Exactly," Ryan cut in. "He thinks the plan is safe. He'll act normal. You must act normal too." His eyes burned into mine. "You have to get home before him. You have to change the locks before he comes back." He paused, softening when he saw my fear. "You can do this, Diana. You have to. This isn't about your marriage anymore. This is about your life. That snapped something inside me. He was right. The man I loved was planning the end of my life tonight. The freezing fear transformed into something else. Cold, sharp, focused. Anger. Pure, burning anger. How could he? After everything we'd been through. I straightened my back, my tears stopped. I wiped my face roughly. "Okay," I said. My voice sounded unfamiliar, stronger than I felt. Ryan looked relieved. "I'll finish the cloning. Once it's done, I'll put the hard drive into a new phone box and hand it to you in a shopping bag. If Alex calls asking where you are, tell him you're at the mall feeling guilty about breaking his phone, so you bought him a new one." It was smart. It gave me a reason to be there and a reason to bring something home. "Don't call the police," Ryan said firmly. "Not yet. We don't know who Jay is or how deep this goes. If Alex has connections, the police might tip him off." He lowered his voice. "We trap them when they move, when they attempt the final stage." "One step at a time," he continued. "Freeze the cards, change the locks, secure the evidence." Then his eyes hardened. "And most important, Diana, do not eat or drink anything he gives you tonight, no matter what. Nothing." I nodded. "Now, go to the restroom, wash your face, calm yourself. I'll meet you in front of the shop in 10 minutes with the package. Act normal." I walked away. My legs felt like jelly, but my posture was straight. Inside the crowded restroom, I stared at my reflection. The woman looking back at me felt like a stranger. Pale, eyes red, but awake. There was a glint of steel in my eyes, something I had never seen before. I splashed cold water onto my face, feeling the sting against my skin. I took a deep breath. The naive Diana, who made coffee for her husband that morning, was gone. The woman walking out of this restroom was a fighter. She was fighting for her life. I returned to the front of Ryan's repair shop exactly 10 minutes later. He was helping another customer, laughing as if nothing had happened. When he saw me, he smiled and handed me a paper shopping bag. "Latest model," he said casually. "Hope Alex likes it. And sorry about earlier." I nodded, playing my part. "Thank you, Ryan. I'm the one who should apologize for the trouble." I took the bag. Inside was a brand new phone box, and hidden inside that box was a hard drive containing my husband's betrayal. I walked out of the mall, but not toward my parking spot. Instead, I turned into the hotel lobby connected to the mall. I needed a safe place to make phone calls. I sat down on a plush velvet sofa, surrounded by busy business travelers and laughing tourists. The irony was crushing. My world had just collapsed, and I was sitting in the middle of ordinary life. I took out my phone. Task 1. The banks. My hands shook so badly I entered my PIN incorrectly 3 times. "Calm down, Diana," I whispered to myself. I took a breath and called customer service for my first bank. A cheerful automated voice greeted me. "Welcome to... Press 1 for balance information." I kept pressing 0, desperate to reach a human operator. Every second felt like a needle piercing my skin. Alex could already be on his way home. "Please hold. All operators are currently assisting other customers." That awful hold music started playing. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Finally, a voice came on the line. "Good afternoon. This is First National Bank. How may I assist you?" "I've lost my wallet," I said, forcing panic into my voice, though what I truly felt was terror. "I need to block all my cards, all of them, immediately." The process was torture. Security questions. My mother's maiden name. My date of birth. 15 minutes that felt like forever, confirming my identity, account numbers, repeating the same story to 3 different representatives at 3 different banks, insisting that yes, I wanted all assets frozen, including fixed deposits. "Are you sure, ma'am?" "Yes, freeze everything." I nearly shouted, drawing glances from nearby hotel guests. I lowered my head, pretending to cry. "Please, I'm really scared." When the final card was confirmed blocked, I ended the call. 1 task done. Task 2. The locksmith. I searched online, 24-hour locksmith, and called the first number that appeared. "Hello, can you change house locks?" I asked. My voice was flat now, cold. "Well, ma'am, maybe later this afternoon?" "No," I cut in sharply. "I need it now. This is an emergency. I'm locked out and my child is inside." I lied. The lie came easily, without hesitation. "I'll pay triple. Just send me the address. You need to be there within 30 minutes. Money talks. The man immediately agreed. I gave him my address. He promised to head out right away. Only then did I walk to my car. The shopping bag with the hidden hard drive felt impossibly heavy. I placed it on the passenger seat and stared at it. That object was my only lifeline. I started the car. The drive home should have taken 20 minutes. That day, it felt like crossing a continent. Every silver car on the road made my heart leap into my throat. Is that Alex? Is he already home? What would he do if he arrived and found the locks changed? Ryan's plan was smart, but incredibly risky. My mind raced. I replayed every memory of Alex and me. Our vacation to Bali, the way he fed me soup when I was sick, the way he laughed. Was all of that fake? Had he been watching me this whole time, planning this? I remembered a few months ago when we signed mortgage documents for a new commercial property. Alex handled everything. "Let me take care of it, babe. Just sign here, here, and here." I signed. I didn't even read it. I trusted him. God, I was stupid. Then I thought of Jenna, my best friend, the one who introduced me to Alex, the one who was my bridesmaid, the one who had lunch with me just last week complaining about how lucky I was to have such a husband. If she was Jay, this wasn't just betrayal, it was something far darker. I turned onto my street. My stomach twisted painfully. A white van was parked in front of my gate. The locksmith. Thank God. I parked in the garage and rushed toward him. "Please, quickly," I urged. Maybe he saw the panic on my face, or maybe he remembered my promise to pay triple. Either way, he worked fast. The sounds of the drill grinding through the old lock cylinder was the most beautiful music I had ever heard. I stood on the porch, pretending to watch him, but my eyes kept scanning the road. Every second, I expected Alex's silver sedan to appear. "This house has a solid security system," the locksmith said, making small talk. I only nodded. He was installing the new lock cylinder when my phone vibrated. Alex. His name lit up. The screen. My heart stopped. I stared at it, frozen. He was calling me. How did he know? The phone kept vibrating. "Ma'am?" the locksmith asked. I jolted. I had to answer. I had to sound normal. I took a breath and tapped the green icon. "Hey, babe," I said, forcing my voice higher than usual. "Hey, Di, where are you?" Alex's voice sounded normal, warm, loving. It made me want to throw up. "I just left the mall," I said casually. "There was a bit of drama earlier." "What kind of drama?" "I felt really bad about breaking your phone this morning, so I bought you a new one as an apology." There was a brief silence. Then Alex laughed. A genuine laugh. "Babe, you didn't have to do that. I told you it was fine." "I know, but I still felt guilty." "Well," he said, "where are you now?" "I'm on my way home, about 10 minutes out." The locksmith was testing the new lock. Click, click. "Yeah," I added quickly, covering the sound. "I'm driving." "I'm just heading home too. I'll cook a special dinner tonight." A special dinner. Asleep, deeply. "I can't wait," I said, my voice nearly breaking. "See you at home." "Love you," he said. "I love you too." I ended the call. My hands were slick with cold sweat. "All done, ma'am," the locksmith said, handing me a set of new shiny keys. "The old ones won't work anymore." I paid him in cash, far more than he asked. Thank you so much." He climbed into his van and drove off. I stood frozen in front of the door, the new keys clenched in my hand. The house was safe, at least for now. As the locksmith's van turned the corner and disappeared, a silver sedan appeared from the same bend. Alex. He was home. His car stopped right behind mine. He stepped out, smiling. The same smile I had seen thousands of times, but tonight it looked like a horrifying mask. I forced a stiff smile. My fingers clenched the new keys so tightly the metal bit into my palm. "You look pale, babe," Alex said, walking toward me. He brushed my hair aside. The touch made my skin crawl. "The mall drama must have exhausted you." "Yeah," I said shortly. "A little dizzy." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his old key. I held my breath. This was it. He slid the key into the lock. Click. It wouldn't turn. He frowned and tried again, harder. Clang. Metal scraping metal. The key wouldn't go in fully. "That's weird," he muttered. He looked at me. The lock's jammed. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was my first lie. I had to do it right. "Oh," I let out a nervous laugh. "I'm sorry, Al. I forgot to tell you." I raised the new key in my hand. "I had to change all the locks." Alex's expression shifted. His smile vanished. His eyes narrowed. It lasted only a fraction of a second, but I saw it. Cold, sudden anger. "You changed the locks?" he asked quietly. "Why?" "My wallet," I said, deliberately letting my voice tremble. "I think it was stolen at the mall. I'm not sure. Maybe I dropped it, but my keys were inside, our spare house key." I stared at him with wide, frightened eyes, playing the role of a terrified wife. I was panicking, truly panicking. I was afraid someone might take it and figure out where we live, so I immediately called a locksmith. Alex looked at me for a long moment. I could see the gears turning behind his eyes. He was weighing things, deciding whether to believe me. "And the cards?" he asked, quietly. "I just got an email from the bank. All the accounts are frozen. It's because of the wallet." "Yes," I nodded quickly. "Everything was in there. My ID, credit cards, debit cards. I blocked everything right away. I was so scared, Alex." He studied me for another second, then slowly the mask slid back into place. His face softened. He sighed and pulled me into his arms. "Oh God, honey, you must have been terrified. Why didn't you call me right away?" His embrace felt like a cage. I had to fight the urge to push him away. "Everything happened so fast," I whispered into his shoulder. "I only called you after it was all done." "It's okay," he said gently. He released me and took the new keys from my hand. "You did the right thing, Diana." He unlocked the door. "Come on, let's go inside. You need to calm down. I'll cook you a nice dinner." My own home now felt like enemy territory. Every corner felt foreign. I placed the shopping bag with the new phone box on the living room table. This is for you," I said. Alex glanced at it. "You really bought me a new one." He smiled, but the smile never reached his eyes. "You didn't have to," I said as I walked toward the kitchen. He followed me. "Let me help," I offered as he started pulling ingredients from the fridge. There was expensive steak, asparagus, mushrooms. "No," he said softly. "You sit. You look exhausted. I'll take care of everything. Consider this my apology for our little argument this morning." He guided me to the dining table, positioning me where I could see him clearly. He moved efficiently in the kitchen. Every slice of the knife against the cutting board made me flinch. He looked so normal. A caring husband cooking dinner for his tired wife. But I knew the truth. I was watching a man who planned to kill me. The real race started here. I couldn't take my eyes off him. "Are you sure you don't want help?" I asked again, starting to stand. "Sit down, Diana," he said, his voice slightly firmer, though still smiling. "Just enjoy the evening. I'll open our special wine, too." He pointed to the wine rack. The expensive red wine we'd been saving for a special occasion. I watched him like a hawk. His hands. Every time he bent down to reach a lower drawer, my heart stopped. Was he grabbing the poison now? Every time he turned his back to open the fridge, I held my breath. He cooked the steak perfectly. Garlic and butter filled the air. A scent that normally made me hungry now made my stomach churn. He plated the food beautifully, like a high-end restaurant. He placed one plate in front of me. It looked delicious, and possibly deadly. "Eat while it's hot," he said, sitting across from me. I picked up my fork and knife. My hands were shaking. I cut a small piece of steak. I had to pretend. "Oh, wait," he suddenly said, standing up. "I forgot the wine." "Here it comes." He walked to the wine rack, his back to me. He opened the bottle expertly. The pop of the cork echoed too loudly in the tense silence. He grabbed 2 crystal glasses. I couldn't clearly see his hands from where I sat. He reached into the cabinet above the wine rack. When he turned around, both glasses were filled with deep red wine. He placed one beside my plate. "To us," he said, lifting his glass. "To our future." I raised mine. My hand trembled. "I will not drink it. I will not eat this." "Why are you just staring?" he asked softly. "Eat." I needed an excuse. "My phone, I think. I left it in the car. Someone might have found my wallet and called." It was a weak excuse, but the only one I had. "I'll get it for you," he offered. "No, I mean, I'll grab the charger too. Your new phone needs charging, right?" I pointed to the phone box in the living room. I stood up. Alex looked at me, his eyes sharp and assessing. "Eat first," he said. "It'll get cold." "Just a second." I walked quickly to the living room and grabbed the phone box. I didn't go to the car. I had to get rid of the food. But how? I rushed into the guest bathroom near the kitchen and locked the door. I opened the trash bin under the sink. I didn't have much time. I gagged myself, forcing up the small piece of steak I'd chewed but not swallowed. Not enough. I went back to the table. Alex was setting up his new phone, not paying attention. I quickly picked up my plate. "Where are you going?" he asked. It's too much for me," I said. "I'll move it to a smaller plate." Another lie. I took it to the kitchen. He couldn't see me from the table. I turned on the faucet as loud as possible. Quickly, I shoveled the steak and vegetables into a plastic trash bag under the sink. I tied it shut and buried it under other trash. I rinsed the plate lightly, making it look like I'd eaten some. I returned to the table with an almost empty plate. Alex smiled. "Better," he said. "Yes," I replied. My wine glass was still full. "Now, drink your wine," he said. His eyes locked on the glass. I picked it up, swirling it slightly. And that's when I saw it. Under the dining light, at the bottom of the glass, something hadn't dissolved completely. A fine white powder clung to the crystal. My blood froze. It was real. He really had poisoned me. I raised the glass to my lips, pretending to sip, letting the liquid touch my lips but not enter my mouth. I set the glass down. "Well?" he asked eagerly. "It's good," I whispered. I had to get out. But my head. I pressed my hand to my forehead. "I feel dizzy, Alex. Maybe from the stress earlier. I need to use the bathroom." I stood, swaying slightly on purpose. Alex's face showed fake concern. "Of course, honey. Do you need help?" "No, just some cold water." I walked unsteadily toward the master bathroom. I had to contact Ryan. I had to know who Jay was. I slammed the bathroom door and locked it. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I leaned against the door, gasping like I'd just run a marathon. I was safe, at least for a few minutes. I looked at myself in the mirror. My face was pale as a corpse. My lips trembled. I turned on the faucet, letting the water run loudly to mask any sound. I splashed cold water on my face, trying to clear my head. The powder in the wine glass. Alex's eager expression. Make sure she falls into a deep sleep. He was waiting out there, waiting for the drug to work, waiting for me to collapse so he could finish it. The final stage of his plan. Anger surged through me, giving me strength. I would not let him win. I pulled my phone from my pocket. My hands were shaking, but I managed to type a message to Ryan. "I'm home. He's here. He tried to poison me. The wine. There's powder in the glass." I pretended to feel dizzy and locked myself in the bathroom. He's outside. I need to know who Jay is. Now. I hit send. 1 check mark. Waiting for the second. I held my breath. My mind raced. What do I do next? I couldn't stay hidden in the bathroom forever. Alex would grow suspicious. My phone vibrated. A message from Ryan. "Stay calm, Di. I'm working on it. Ever since you left, I haven't stopped digging. Most of the data on that SD card is encrypted, but I found something, a calendar. My breath caught. He has a backup calendar that wasn't encrypted. A knock on the bathroom door. Knock, knock, knock. Diana, sweetheart, are you okay? Alex's voice sounded so concerned, so fake. I flinched, pressing my back against the door. Yes, I called out, forcing my voice to sound weak. My stomach feels really sick. I think I ate something bad earlier. Do you want me to bring you some medicine? He asked. No, it's okay. Just give me a minute, please. Silence outside. I imagined him standing there in our bedroom, listening, waiting. My phone vibrated again. Ryan. There's a recurring meeting every Wednesday at noon for the last 3 months. Same place every time. A small cafe downtown. No names listed, just meeting. I typed back quickly. That doesn't tell me who the person is. I know. I'm cross-referencing it with GPS data from his phone backup. He didn't wipe his location history. Careless bastard. My heart pounded. The GPS data from the last 3 days is corrupted, probably damaged when the phone fell, but I still have last week and the week before. I waited, barely breathing. Guess where he was last Wednesday at noon? That cafe. My fingers trembled. And guess where he went after? I stared at the screen. He went to a luxury apartment building in downtown Chicago, Gold Coast area. Stayed there for 2 hours. My blood ran cold. I'm tracing the owner of the unit he keeps visiting. It'll take some time. Another knock. This one was harder, sharper, impatient. Diana, you've been in there for half an hour. Open the door. I'm worried. His voice wasn't gentle anymore. There was command in it. He was starting to panic. His plan wasn't sticking to schedule. I have diarrhea, I lied, hating myself but having no choice. Please don't come in. I'm embarrassed. Just go. I'll come out when I'm done. I heard a muffled curse through the door. Fine. I'll wait in the living room. Don't take too long. Footsteps retreated. He was giving me a little more time. My phone vibrated violently. Ryan, I don't need the apartment owner anymore. I found something else. My chest tightened. A backup folder from another messaging app, not the one we saw before. This one seems linked to his social media. A pause. He saved screenshots. Diana, I'm sending them now. You need to be ready. My heart stopped. I already knew what I was about to see. I'd felt it the moment the name Jay appeared. An image filled my screen. A screenshot of a social media post. 2 champagne glasses on a table. A nighttime city skyline in the background. Location tagged. A luxury apartment, Gold Coast, Chicago. But that wasn't what froze me. It was the caption. One step closer to our freedom at last. I love you. -A. And the account name that posted it. Jasmine. Jasmine. My best friend. My maid of honor. The woman who held my hand while I cried over fights with Alex a year ago. The woman I admired for being strong and independent. Another image came through. Her profile photo. Jasmine smiling at the camera. Eyes bright. The same smile she'd given me just last week over lunch. Jay was Jasmine. I couldn't breathe. The betrayal cut too deep. This wasn't just my husband. This was the 2 people closest to me. They weren't just conspiring behind my back. They were planning my life together. Ryan. Diana, are you there? The pain was so intense, so sharp, it burned away all fear. What remained was rage. Cold, pure, lethal. They weren't just trying to take my money. They weren't just trying to take my house. They were trying to take my life while laughing behind my back. Alex thought I was a weak, obedient wife. Jasmine thought I was a foolish, naive friend. They were wrong. So very wrong. I wiped my tears away and stared at my reflection in the mirror. The frightened woman from earlier was gone. The one staring back at me now was someone they didn't know. I unlocked the bathroom door. I had to end this act. I had to make them move to the final stage. I stepped out, my movements deliberately unsteady. I walked into the bedroom, where Alex couldn't see me from the living room. I needed him to believe the poison had worked. I grabbed a pillow from the bed and let it fall. Then I dropped myself onto the floor beside the bed with a loud thud. I lay still, eyes closed, breathing slow and even. I listened. Silence. Then fast footsteps from the living room. "Diana!" Alex's voice was tight. He appeared in the bedroom doorway. He saw me lying on the floor. "Diana!" He rushed towards me. He didn't kneel to check me. He didn't shake me. The first thing he did was grab my wrist, not to check my pulse. He was checking if I was still conscious. I stayed limp. He slapped my cheek lightly. "Diana? Sweetheart." Nothing. I heard him exhale. Relief. The same relieved breath he'd taken that morning on the balcony. He'd done it. He thought he'd succeeded. I heard him pull out his phone again. Buttons pressed. He didn't call an ambulance. He didn't call the police. "Hello." His voice was now normal, cold, precise. "Hello." Silence. I could imagine Jasmine on the other end, smiling. "Yes," Alex continued. "The drug worked perfectly. No, she didn't suspect a thing." He cuckolded softly. The sound made my stomach churn. "She even bought me a brand new phone. Sweet, right?" He ended the call. I heard his footsteps retreat towards the living room. What was he doing now? Cleaning up dinner? Washing the wine glass that held the poison? The rage inside me crystallized into ice. No pain, no sadness, only focus. I had to contact Ryan. I waited. Every second felt like an hour. I heard drawers opening and closing in the kitchen. What was he looking for? Then footsteps towards the guest bathroom. The sound of running water. He was washing evidence. This was my chance. Silently, I rolled to the other side of the bed, out of sight of the doorway. I pulled my phone from my pocket. The screen light felt blinding. I dimmed it to the lowest setting. And wait. I opened the message thread with Ryan. My fingers flew across the screen, driven by pure adrenaline. "He thinks I passed out. He called Jasmine. She's on her way with the documents and the camera. Bring the police." Message sent. I waited. No reply. Damn it. I heard the water shut off in the guest bathroom. Footsteps were coming closer. I quickly slid my phone under the bed, rolled back into my original position on the floor, closed my eyes, and slowed my breathing. The bedroom door opened. Alex walked in. I felt him standing over me again. "Annoying," he muttered. He bent down. I felt his arms slide under my back and knees. He lifted me. I forced my body to stay limp, dead weight in his arms. His cologne, the scent that once made me feel safe, now made my stomach churn. He threw me onto the bed. Not gently. He tossed me like a sack of rice. My head hit the headboard lightly, but I swallowed the pain. He pulled the blanket up to my chin, arranging me carefully as if I were peacefully asleep. Natural, convincing. Then he began pacing the room, restless, waiting for Jasmine. My phone, it was under the bed. I had to get it. I had to know Ryan's plan. I let out a soft groan, the sound of someone half asleep. Alex stopped pacing. "Diana." I rolled slightly, turning my back to him, bringing myself closer to the edge of the bed, closer to my phone. "Not now," he hissed. "Sleep. Sleep deeply." I heard a drawer open on the nightstand, then a click. A pill bottle. My sleeping pills, the ones I only used occasionally. Oh God, was he going to dose me again? "Alex," I murmured, my voice hoarse and confused. I opened my eyes just a little, pretending to be half conscious. "My head," I murmured. He froze. The pill bottle was still in his hand. Panic flickered across his face. "Go back to sleep, sweetheart," he said quickly. "You're just exhausted." "Water?" I whispered. "I'm thirsty." He hesitated. His plan was unraveling. "Please, water." "Fine," he snapped, impatient. "Stay here. Don't go anywhere." As if I could. He set the pill bottle down and rushed out toward the kitchen. The moment his footsteps faded down the hall, I moved. I reached under the bed. My fingers scraped the floor. Got it. I pulled my phone out. It vibrated. A message from Ryan. "I'm on my way. I've got the camera. Police are already contacted. They're waiting near the complex. I can't get in. You changed the locks. I can't open the door." Shit. I forgot. Of course, the new locks. "You'll have to let me in," Ryan continued. "Back door. Hurry. Jasmine could arrive any second." I heard water being poured in the kitchen. I jumped off the bed. My feet landed silently on the thick carpet. I ran down the hallway toward the kitchen. Alex was standing with his back to me at the fridge, pouring water into a glass. I didn't slow down. I sprinted past him toward the back door, by the laundry area. "Diana!" he shouted, startled. I didn't care. I reached the back door. My hands shook as I unlocked the top and bottom bolts. Click, click. The sound felt impossibly loud. "What are you doing?" Alex yelled. The glass shattered on the kitchen floor as he dropped it. He ran toward me. I yanked the door open. In the darkness of the backyard, Ryan stood there, backpack slung over his shoulder, face tense. "Inside," I whispered. Ryan rushed in, nearly colliding with me. Alex was only a few steps behind us. Then, Jasmine's voice, from the front door. "Alex, why doesn't my key work? I know you're inside." Shit. Alex was trapped in the guest bathroom side of the house. He couldn't get to the front door in time. The plan was collapsing. Just as panic surged through me, I heard a voice through my earpiece. "Ryan." "I'll open the door," I whispered into the air. "I'll pretend to be Alex," he said quietly. "Our voices sound similar from a distance. Stay still." I heard the master bathroom door crack open slightly. Then Ryan shouted toward the front door, forcing his voice to sound rough. "Hold on, the lock's jammed." Footsteps. He was going to the front door. Oh God, what was he doing? I heard the new lock turn. The front door opened. Then Jasmine's voice, cold, sharp. "Why did you take so long? And why did you change the locks?" I held my breath. What would Ryan say? "I'll explain later," Ryan replied, imitating Alex well enough. Diana got suspicious about her lost wallet. She was asking questions. Jasmine's voice turned cautious. Footsteps entered the living room. "It's done," Ryan said as Alex. "She's asleep in the bedroom. Let's finish this." I lay stiff on the bed, eyes closed, every nerve screaming. I heard footsteps, 2 sets. They were approaching the bedroom. My heart thundered loudly enough I was sure they could hear it. The bedroom door opened. The air shifted. Their presence filled the room. "See?" Ryan said softly, still as Alex. "Out cold." Jasmine moved closer. I smelled her perfume, the expensive one I'd given her as a birthday gift last month. Nausea surged. I felt her cold fingers brush my cheek, the same touch she used to comfort me when I cried. Now it felt like a spider crawling over my skin. "Poor Diana," Jasmine said, her voice dripping with false sympathy and satisfaction. "She trusted you completely. She really believed you loved her." "Love doesn't pay bills," Ryan replied flatly, baiting her. "You came up with this plan, Jasmine," he added. She laughed softly. "Oh, please. You came to me, begging like a dog, crying about your gambling debts. You said you'd do anything to be free." My breath caught. Gambling debts. "I just showed you the path," she continued. She walked around the bed. I heard her open her bag, the sound of metal shifting. "And you owe me, Alex," she said coolly. "Don't forget that. I arranged everything. I found the buyer for this house. I had those documents forged." I know, Ryan said, irritation creeping into his fake Alex voice. So where are the papers? Let's finish this. Patience, Jasmine said. First, we make sure the signature is perfect. She placed something hard on the nightstand. I brought the signature stamp we made, she continued. We just need her thumbprint on the final power of attorney, just in case anyone gets suspicious. She grabbed my hand, my limp hand. She lifted it. I let her. So cold, Jasmine muttered. Side effect of the drug, Ryan said quickly. She pressed my thumb into the ink pad, then onto the paper. I felt the pressure. She had just legally taken my home from me. Good, Jasmine said. Now for the important part. Silence. I wondered what Ryan was doing. You destroyed her phone, didn't you? Jasmine asked casually. That was your idea, dropping it from the balcony? Very dramatic. I had to, Ryan said, as Alex. All my debt records to you were on that phone, no loose ends. Jasmine laughed. Idiot, you think I only kept copies on your phone? I have backups everywhere, but that doesn't matter. She lowered her voice. What matters is the folder I made you create, the one with all of Diana's identities. That's my insurance. If you ever turn on me, I'm the one who controls everything. So that was it. Alex wasn't the mastermind. He was just a pawn, a desperate pawn buried under gambling debt, owned by Jasmine. She manipulated Alex, used me, planned everything. She envied me. She wanted my life. She doesn't even know about that folder, does she? Ryan asked calmly. Of course not. Just like she doesn't know the client who trapped you in debt was actually my company. A pause. I've owned you from the beginning, Alex. The ad confession was complete, detailed, monstrous. Ryan had everything he needed. Now Jasmine spoke, her voice turning cold and serious. It's time for the final stage. I don't want to take any risks of her waking up. She paused. We'll make this look like a suicide. Suicide? Ryan repeated, his voice tense. Yes, much cleaner than an overdose. A broken-hearted wife discovers proof that her husband is bankrupt and having an affair, Jasmine continued calmly. Oh, I've already prepared several fake intimate photos of us on your laptop. Then she decides to end everything. She turns on the gas in the kitchen and falls asleep forever. My God, her plan was far more vicious than I had imagined. You, Jasmine said, will look like the devastated husband who just happened to step out when the tragedy happened. We'll mourn together. Then, a week later, she added casually, we liquidate everything and leave the country. She walked toward the bedroom door. Quick, Alex, grab her laptop. Take any jewelry that looks valuable. I'll handle the gas in the kitchen. There it was, a full confession of premeditated murder. I heard Jasmine's footsteps moving away toward the kitchen. Then I heard Ryan's voice through the earpiece. That's enough. Police are moving in now. Get ready. The moment he finished speaking, I heard footsteps again. Jasmine was running. Alex, she shouted in panic. There are police cars outside. They're right in front of the building. How did they know? She screamed. I don't know, Alex yelled back. Jasmine ran back into the bedroom. She saw me lying on the bed. Her eyes went wild. It's her, she hissed. She set us up. Then she saw Ryan, standing up right now, no longer pretending. And you, she screamed, pointing at him, you're not Alex. Jasmine didn't run for the door. She ran straight at me. If I go down, you go down with me. She jumped onto the bed, her hands lunging for my throat. But I was ready. The moment she attacked, I rolled off the bed. I hit the floor hard. Jasmine lost her balance and slammed into the headboard. At the exact same moment, the front door was kicked in. Wood splintered. Police! Don't move! Ryan ran out of the bedroom. "He's in here. She's attacking the victim." Jasmine got back on her feet, her eyes locked onto mine, burning with pure hatred. "You bitch." She lunged again, but I was already standing. I grabbed the heavy ceramic bedside lamp and swung with all my strength. The lamp smashed into Jasmine's shoulder. She screamed in pain. 2 uniformed police officers rushed into the bedroom, guns raised. "Drop it! On the floor!" Jasmine froze as the officers moved in. Ryan pointed at her. "That's her, Jasmine. She's the mastermind." At the same time, I heard shouting and crashing from the guest bathroom. Alex. He knew the game was over. Jasmine glared at me, her eyes blazing. "You won't win," she hissed. Then my eyes caught something in her hand. I hadn't seen it before. A gas lighter. "I already turned the gas on," she screamed. "If I can't have it, no one will." She pressed the trigger. Click. A useless spark. Nothing happened. The room filled with the sharp smell of gas. But Jasmine had spent too much time in the bedroom. The gas was still concentrated in the kitchen, not enough saturation here to ignite with a small spark. She stared at the lighter in disbelief. "No." The police officer closest to her didn't give her a second chance. He charged forward, slamming his shoulder into her, driving her to the floor, away from the bed and away from me. "Hands behind your head! Hands behind your head!" But Jasmine wasn't done. She wasn't the type to surrender. She rolled on the floor, kicking the officer hard in the knee. She roared like a wounded animal, fueled by rage. She clawed, bit, and screamed, "Let me go! You don't understand. She framed me!" A second officer rushed in to help. Together, they struggled to restrain her violent thrashing. "Jasmine, stop resisting. You are under arrest for attempted murder." While chaos exploded in the bedroom, I heard another loud crash from the living room. "Police, open the door!" The guest bathroom. Alex. 2 more officers sprinted toward the noise. "There's another one in here!" They kicked in the thin wooden guest bathroom door. It shattered instantly. Alex stumbled out, his eyes wild with panic. He saw the police, saw the guns pointed at him. Unlike Jasmine, he collapsed. He dropped to his knees in the hallway, hands raised, sobbing uncontrollably. "It wasn't me," he cried, burying his face in his hands. "Please, not me. She forced me. It was all Jasmine. She trapped me with debt. I didn't want this." "Cuff him," an officer ordered. Ryan stepped out of the master bathroom. His face was pale but relieved. He handed an external hard drive and a phone to the officer who appeared to be in charge. "Inspector," Ryan said steadily, "everything is here. Cloned data from her husband's phone and the full audio recording of Jasmine's confession. Murder planning, fraud, forgery, all of it. Someone check the kitchen. I smell gas." An officer ran into the kitchen. All burners were on. He shut them off immediately and ran to open every window in the living room, letting the cold night air flood in, pushing out the death Jasmine had planned. In the bedroom, Jasmine's resistance finally ended. They cuffed her. As they pulled her to her feet, her eyes locked onto mine. I stood in the corner, shaking, hugging myself. This was my best friend. "You think you won?" She spat at me, saliva flying. "You think you're smart? He'll never really love you. He's mine. I found him. I made him." "Enough," an officer said, yanking her roughly toward the door. I saw Alex as they dragged him past me. He couldn't even look at me. His eyes stayed glued to the floor. A broken man, betrayed by his mastermind and destroyed by his weakness. My home was filled with strangers. Police secured evidence. They collected the wine glass with poison residue at the bottom. They seized forged documents and the signature stamp Jasmine had brought. They took the kitchen knife Alex had prepared for my special dinner. A paramedic wrapped me in an emergency blanket. I wasn't injured, but my shaking wasn't from cold. It was shock. Ryan sat beside me on the couch, his hand never leaving my shoulder, grounding me in silence. Later that night at the police station, everything unraveled. I gave my statement, with Ryan as a witness.
The story sounded insane even to my own ears. The smashed phone, the whispered conversations, the powder in the glass. But I had evidence. When I finished, the inspector sat across from me, looking exhausted. "Your account," he said, "perfectly matches the evidence and your husband's initial testimony." It turned out Alex talked immediately. He told them everything, hoping to save himself. Jasmine and Alex had known each other since college, long before I ever met Alex. Jasmine had already shown a manipulative side. It was Jasmine who introduced me to Alex. It had been part of her plan from the beginning. Jasmine, who appeared successful, was actually running several illegal operations. She loaned Alex money for an investment that was designed to fail. When it collapsed, as she planned, Alex suddenly owed Jasmine millions of dollars. She held the debt over his head, controlled him. "You're going to marry Diana. She has a large inheritance. She owns property. You'll enter her life and help me take everything." Alex, weak and...
Now Jasmine spoke, her voice turning cold and serious. "It's time for the final stage. I don't want to take any risks of her waking up." She paused. "We'll make this look like a suicide." "Suicide?" Ryan repeated, his voice tense. "Yes, much cleaner than an overdose. A broken-hearted wife discovers proof that her husband is bankrupt and having an affair," Jasmine continued calmly. "Oh, I've already prepared several fake intimate photos of us on your laptop." Then she decides to end everything. She turns on the gas in the kitchen and falls asleep forever. My God, her plan was far more vicious than I had imagined. "You," Jasmine said, "will look like the devastated husband who just happened to step out when the tragedy happened. We'll mourn together. Then, a week later," she added casually, "we liquidate everything and leave the country." She walked toward the bedroom door. "Quick, Alex, grab her laptop. Take any jewelry that looks valuable. I'll handle the gas in the kitchen." There it was, a full confession of premeditated murder. I heard Jasmine's footsteps moving away toward the kitchen. Then I heard Ryan's voice through the earpiece. "That's enough. Police are moving in now. Get ready." The moment he finished speaking, I heard footsteps again. Jasmine was running. "Alex," she shouted in panic, "there are police cars outside. They're right in front of the building." "How did they know?" she screamed. "I don't know," Alex yelled back. Jasmine ran back into the bedroom. "We know," the inspector said calmly. "We tested it. The dosage was lethal. He may have been manipulated by Jasmine, but he actively participated in the attempted murder of you." Karma. That was all I wanted. The trial moved quickly. The evidence was overwhelming. The clone data recovered by Ryan revealed a meticulous forgery scheme. The audio recordings Ryan captured became the final nail in Jasmine's coffin. Her clear confession about turning on the gas and her intent to kill me. Alex received a reduced sentence for cooperating, but even so, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for his role in the conspiracy and attempted murder. Jasmine, the mastermind, the sociopath hiding behind the warm smile of a best friend. She showed no remorse. She was charged with multiple counts: attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, aggravated fraud, forgery, and reckless endangerment of human life. She received the maximum sentence, life imprisonment. As the verdict was read, Jasmine turned toward me. She sat in the defendant's chair. She didn't look angry. She looked empty. But when our eyes met, she smiled. A small, terrifying smile that seemed to say, "I may have lost, but I've destroyed your life forever." She was wrong. She didn't destroy me. She only destroyed the illusion I had been living in. Months later, Morning sunlight poured through the new living room windows. Fine dust danced in the air. The apartment smelled of fresh paint and lemon wood polish. I sold almost all of the old furniture. The sofa where Jasmine once sat, the dining table where Alex served my poisoned wine, the bed where I pretended to be unconscious. All of it gone. I didn't sell the apartment. I refused to be driven out of my own home by bad memories. This was my home. I reclaimed it. I sat at my new kitchen table, solid oak, sturdy, holding a cup of coffee. On my laptop screen, Ryan's face smiled back at me. "So," he said, his voice crackling slightly through the speakers, "the paint's dry? No more gas smell?" I laughed, a real laugh, free and unrestrained. It had been a long time since I laughed like that. "Nope, just the smell of victory," I said, "and maybe a little turpentine." "How's the shop?" I asked. "Busy," Ryan replied. "I'm kind of famous now. Hero technician, according to the local paper. My client list tripled. I might start wearing a cape." We laughed together. Our relationship had changed. He wasn't just my cousin anymore. He was my anchor, my brother, the only person who trusted my instincts when no one else did. "You sure you're okay being there alone, Dee?" he asked, his smile fading into genuine concern. "I'm not alone," I said, glancing around. The apartment felt peaceful, not the frightening kind of silence, but a solid, grounding calm. The legal process was over. Every asset they tried to steal from me was returned. I even managed to reverse the sale of the commercial property Alex had secretly sold behind my back. The mystery of Alex was fully exposed in court. He was a weak man, trapped by a stronger, more vicious woman. His weakness turned him into a monster. I no longer hated him. I only felt pity and relief that he was in prison. "Jasmine files an appeal," I said casually, taking a sip of my coffee, "and it was denied." Ryan smiles. "I read the article." "Of course it was denied," I said. "She's locked away for good, as she should be." We sat in silence for a moment. "So," Ryan said, "what's next for you?" I smiled. "I'm thinking of using that commercial property to open something of my own, maybe a small gallery or a book cafe, something quiet." "That sounds perfect for you, Dee," he said softly. "I'm really proud of you." "I couldn't have done it without you, Ryan." "You could have," he joked. "You just needed a little technical support." We ended the call. I closed the laptop. I stood and walked down the hallway, past the guest bathroom, its door repaired, past my bedroom, now painted a calming shade of blue. Everything was new. Everything was clean. I stopped at the front door. It, too, was new. A solid teak door with a dual security lock system. I picked up my keys from the small bowl by the entrance. There was only one key on the ring now, not 3 or 4 like before. The old keys, the ones Jasmine had, the ones Alex used, had all been melted down. This was my new key. I stepped out onto the porch, feeling the warmth of the morning sun on my face. I breathed in fresh air. Then I turned back and slid the key into the lock. I turned it. Click. The satisfying sound of metal locking perfectly into place. Before, I locked my door to keep strangers out. Now, I locked my door to protect the peace I had fought so hard to reclaim inside. I smiled, a whole smile. I was safe. I was free. I was no longer the victim lying on the floor. I was the owner of this home. I was the owner of my life. Yeah,